Aurora, Riot's mysterious champion with a kit that looks unique but has been gathering dust in the pick list since her release. Is she secretly a hidden gem, or is she just as bad as everyone says? I decided to find out. I spent 10 hours learning Aurora to answer one simple question. Is she truly as horrible as she seems? Spoiler alert, the answer's complicated. Let's dive in. As someone who plays in high diamond, low master lobbies, I know it's not the greatest, League of Legends isn't exactly something that I find a hard point. Most champions I have a pretty comprehensive knowledge of and how to play. However, this one just felt different. For the purpose of this challenge, I was playing her mid lane primarily. I did get a few top lane games, but that wasn't the aim that I was looking for. I think even a couple games I got stuck ADC, but because ADC is such a dog role, I just played Aurora down in the damage lane. I also wanted to try out all of her builds and all of the runes available, or at least recommended for her. And some of them felt better than others, yes, but I don't think she actually has a bad rune page. They all felt like they were beneficial in their own ways. Day 1, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, hopeful. I loaded into my first few games with Aurora thinking, this champion's got to have something. I mean, Riot doesn't just release champions to flop, right? Wrong. Aurora is one of those champions with a kit that looks unique on paper, but feels like trying to win a Formula 1 race with a tricycle. A 3-hit passive, immense burst on her Q and her E, and her W's a gap closer. So the champion itself is fun, and it does have unique things to it, and its laning phase actually didn't feel too bad against most things. I think there was a few games I did actually get my booty blasted, but most of the time this champion felt fun in laning phase. First thing I tried was the on-hit build, because Reddit said it was spicy, and let me tell you, if that build is spicy, it's bland cafeteria chili spicy. Sometimes you just really shouldn't listen to Reddit at all. This build was your traditional Blade of the Ruined King, Static Shiv, Rageblade style build. The things that work on a Twisted Fate or an old LeBlanc, but it did not feel good on Aurora. Imagine hitting enemies and watching the health bar not move. That's how it felt. So I quickly ditched that for the Malignance build, which focuses on a role. The better build in my opinion. This build is currently what people like Faker and other pros are playing when they play Aurora in laning phase, because it allows you to engage with your ult and then just put down a whole amount of damage because Malignance is going crazy. It's not bad and I do like it, but man, it's like buying a slightly less terrible car. And then of course there's the Ludens build, and that gives her a little bit of burst, but she still falls off so hard late game. This build focused more on building Ludens and having that burst damage and immense pressure with Electrocute, but it also just didn't feel great when coming up against tanks. Thanks Riot Games for making tanks so strong for the end of this season. I really enjoyed that. Now there was another build I tried, and I did get to play top lane a few times, but I didn't really want to, and it was Rod of Ages into Riftmaker. This didn't feel terrible, it made me super tanky and I had a lot of sustain, but I also felt like it took a little bit too long to get online. I tried it mid lane a few times and definitely got pushed in the face. However, playing it top lane, it definitely felt like I could survive, out-damage other tanks that are playing up there, and still offer that threat of being a split pusher or coming in from the side. So maybe this build was the go-to, but it wasn't the one I played the most of. By day 3 and 4, I realized that I needed help. So I dove into the rabbit hole, guides, YouTube tutorials, and obscure Reddit threads that felt like they were written in another language. I learned how to actually combo properly and trade effectively. Things like weaving in auto attacks, managing cooldowns, and using her passive like I actually read the tooltips. I quickly learnt the range on Aurora's Q is ridiculous, and people don't actually realize you can pull it back to pretty much give you a guaranteed electrocute proc. So the damage I was dealing from that alone after working that out, you hit a Q once, you can pull it back and then hit your E, they're practically dead. So she has a really high skill cap if you can put these combos together. Maybe weave them in with some auto attacks for more damage. The improvement was real, and it was fun. There were moments where I felt like a god, especially when I could land a perfectly timed ult on the enemy ADC or catch someone out in the jungle. I started to realize that maybe her ult was better used to engage first, especially with the Malignance build, because it allowed me to actually put down damage immediately and then still be able to jump all around my ult and be unable to be hit. If they had a Lucian that was fed, or a Cogmore that was fed, if I hit them immediately with ult, they were slowed, they probably weren't going anywhere without a flash, and they were already eating damage without even hitting a Q or a W or an E yet. I will add in that I had a very unfun time with her hitboxes, and that still kind of seems the case. I just sometimes couldn't get it to stick, even if it felt like it was right on them, or maybe just a little bit next to them. These should have been hitting. And as much shit as I gave the W, it still does have some pretty cool aspects to it when you can get W resets from constantly killing enemies in fights. When you're building high damage, it's pretty likely that you're going to get resets from damaging someone, even if it's not you killing them. So being able to bunny hop all over Summoner's Rift was pretty cool in certain time. But here's the problem. Aurora's weaknesses became glaringly obvious. Late game, forget it. She's like that one friend who's great at parties but he vanishes when it's time to clean up. I came up against a Yone that decided to rush the wrong item 3 times and the wrong boots, and I still lost to this team comp. Now that could have been because the Oceanic server is a bit shambolic at times. However, it also could have been because I just couldn't keep up with him late game. Now it is Yone, we all hate that champion, but at the same time, a 5-1 Aurora coming out of laning phase should not struggle late game against a Yone. As a diamond/master playing ADC, I know how to CS, I know how to trade, so I wasn't lacking in any of these situations. I just wasn't putting out the damage that I really thought I would have been, being 5-1 coming out of lane. Assassins out-assassinate her, mages out-control her, and tanks, don't even try it. By the last 2 days of this challenge, I'd finally hit my stride. I knew her combos, I knew her damage thresholds, I'd stopped just flinging spells around and hoping something stuck. And honestly, it felt good. I was winning lanes, landing big ults, making flashy plays. Despite shitting all over a Syndra in lane and then being one-shot late game because Syndra is just the most fun champion ever, huh? But the thing about Aurora is that she's not a closer. Even with the perfect execution, she's rarely the reason you win a game. Late game fights still felt like swimming upstream. Her ult could be amazing if Riot would give it a little more oomph. And her W, it's like having a fork in a soup eating contest. It's awkward and it's not really helpful. So after 10 hours of blood, sweat, and tears, like literally I cried a little, here's my verdict. Aurora isn't horrible, but she's also not good. She's high risk, sometimes high reward, but the risk to reward ratio just isn't there right now. As we said before, assassins assassinate better and mages control better. She's stuck in this weird middle ground that leaves her feeling flat. Would I recommend her? Honestly, if you're looking for fun and a challenge, sure. She's unique, and when she works, she is a blast. But if you're climbing or trying to climb, Aurora ain't it. Riot, if you're watching this, please give her some love. A stronger ult, better utility, something. Until then, Aurora will remain a champion for the memes. Alright, that's it for this challenge. If you enjoyed watching me suffer, smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments what champion I should torture myself with next time. Until next time, don't forget to ward, don't miss your skill shots, and remember, sometimes it's the champion, not you.